Alright guys, welcome to another G Auto Repair YouTube video. And today we're working on a 2002 Toyota Tacoma. It's one of those 2 years. And the complaint here is we have a performance complaint. The customer states, who is also a viewer actually of the channel, Alex. So this one's for you, Alex. He states that the truck seems sluggish, like it has a little bit poor performance. It operates all right, but he has noticed that it seems kind of sluggish when you try to take off from maybe 45, 50, maybe do a passing, wide open throttle or something like that. He feels that the truck has become sluggish here lately. So we're gonna go ahead and check that out. It's got a check engine light. We're gonna see what that's about. Maybe that's gonna give us a clue. And overall, the truck seems like it's in a good shape. He really takes good care of it. He does whatever he needs to do to it. He's done spark plugs. He probably needs to do them again, he said. So not sure if that's gonna be part of the issue or he's got some fuel problems. I'm not sure. So as if you've noticed, there's a lot of light here, and that is because my little tarp flew off the other day with these storms that passed by, thanks to Hurricane Ian, or Ian, or whatever you want to pronounce it. The point is that my tarp is gone, and I can't find any tarps here in the entire area because they're all gone. So we're gonna be natural for a while. Hopefully it won't rain or anything on us. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and scan. I already got my scanner hooked up. I want to see what check engine light codes we got. I already connected the scanner and all that to speed up the process. And it appears we have an AF sensor heater circuit. Code P1135, bank 1, sensor 1. So this right here is not going to give us a performance issue. This is just the heater of the O2 sensor. It's very common, and over time these heaters go bad. There's an element in them that open up, and the computer picks up on that. So I'm really not going to pay attention to that right now. That should be a relatively quick fix. We may have to replace that sensor more than likely. So I'm gonna have to look at some other PIDs here, and obviously we have an OL, open loop fault, because of the O2 sensor, I'm sure. Let's look at short and long trim, engine RPM, and let's see, airflow sensor, oxygen sensor output. Let's see what sensor is it. Oops, wrong button. No, there we go. Bank 1, sensor 2, so let's go ahead and choose that. Now, since we have an air fuel sensor in the front, which is a wide band, it's going to be a little difficult. Here's the voltage. It's a little different than traditional O2 sensors or narrow band, whereas they kind of work backwards, where in O2 narrowband sensors, when you have a higher voltage, it goes from 0.9 to about point something to about 1 volt, 0 to 1 volt. As it goes closer to the 1 volt, you have a rich, and as it goes closer to the 0, it's a lean. This one actually works kind of backwards. The higher the voltage, the leaner the mixture. The lower the voltage, the richer. But we can use the rear. In some cases, we can use the rear O2 sensor to kind of get an idea if we're having a good fuel pressure or fuel delivery. Let me change this to grams per second. I'm gonna crank the car. Now the car is cold. Try to get some AC in here because it's hot. All right, so we're gonna let this warm up for a second, let it go into open loop and whatnot, and we can start getting voltage readings from the O2 sensors. So while that happens, when that happens, I'm gonna go for a test drive. I'm gonna bring you guys along and see if we can figure something out here. We're gonna see what the car feels like, and then we're gonna take some readings and see if we can somewhat figure out what's going on with this truck. It appears that I'm starting to get some readings here from this O2 sensor. This one seems all right, 3.2, 3.3. That's probably general what you're gonna see. You're not gonna see a whole lot of movement, very subtle changes. So we're gonna let that warm up a little bit more. So we're gonna go for a test drive. Give me a minute. Let me let this truck warm up, and then we'll hit the road. Stay tuned. All right, so the vehicle's all warmed up. We're ready to go on a test drive, and we're just looking at some PIDs real quick here that I've set up. The short and long fuel trim are steady at 0%. That doesn't look right. Intake temperature is at 93. I think that should be a little higher. Airflow mass sensor, I forgot to mention, this is a 3.4 liter, so at idle, with everything, no load, everything off, it should be close to 3.4, which we are at 4.4 right now. So not a major difference, but it is a little higher than I would expect it to see. I guess as long as it's not too crazy, it's no big deal. But that's yet to be seen. Now, as far as oxygen sensor readings, we got the rear O2 sensor reading here that is steady at 0.9, and the voltage for the air fuel ratio sensor is at 3.3. I don't know if you guys can see all this stuff in the video or not, but let me see how the air fuel the airflow sensor went from 4.4, about 3,000 RPMs. We're at 20. That seems kind of low. Let's go for our test drive. Let me turn on the AC because it's hot. Let me see if I can put this in a way that I can easily see and that you guys can also see. I mean, there's going to be some glare here involved, but it's the nature of the beast. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do wide open throttle. And that guy just ran the stop sign. And he ran it again. Okay, no problem. It's cool. The rules of the road, I guess, don't apply to him. Alright, so I'm gonna do a wide open throttle here. Let that car get ahead of me and see what type of readings I get. So we're at a stop. Okay. Notice how that O2 sensor went down to lean. that doesn't look right to me. That doesn't look like to me. But I also noticed that the airflow sensor seemed kind of low. It stayed at about 40 grams per second. I feel it should be way higher than that. Let me look. Let me get in traffic here. All right. Okay. So yeah, it seems like you have to. It seems like you have to hit the gas a little bit more than normal to get up to speed. And the O2 sensor stays pretty lean, as you can see. Now it goes back up to 0.8, 0.9. So in these situations, I try to go to the simplest possible solution. The first question that comes up, you know, what is it? Is it clogged exhaust? Is it a poor fuel delivery? Is it a sensor that's skewed? Which one of them is it gonna be? Could be a combination of things. Remember, these are older vehicles. This has 206,000 miles. The owner says he serviced it as much as he could, but there's still certain little services that slip people's mind that they don't think about, or whatever the case may be. Since I saw that mass airflow sensor was kind of low. Let me see here. You guys can see we're at 38. I'm gonna do a wide open throttle. 60, 72, and it kind of just stays there. 79.9. Yeah. And the oxygen sensor stays pretty low. It stays pretty lean. It's supposed to go rich on wide open throttle, and then when you let go of the gas, it's supposed to go to lean because you got your fuel cut off. So that's not working as expected, in my opinion. So anyways, like I was saying, I like to go through the simplest possible solutions. So the first thing I want to look at, which is one of the simplest, is I want to look at the air filter. I want to look at the mass airflow sensor, see if it's dirty. A dirty mass airflow sensor will cause performance issues because it's not reading the right volume of air coming in. It can't regulate the fuel, and therefore you have performance issues. I did take a peek at the air filter yesterday when the customer was with me dropping off the car, and it did look kind of dirty. So we may end up changing an air filter as well. It all depends on what the customer, Alex in this case, will approve to get done. So let me get in this main avenue here and get where I can get a little bit of speed. So is it a clogged exhaust? Possibly. We can still have that issue. Possible. But before I go all crazy pulling O2 sensors and checking exhaust pressures and all that, we try to simplify and speed up the diagnostic process by checking just the basics. You know, I've had situations where the car doesn't get out of its own way. You would swear is a clogged exhaust system. And you go through all that trouble taking pressure, pulling O2 sensors out, and then it ends up being a dirty airflow sensor. You can see that whole time that was lean. So yeah, I do feel a little bit of sluggishness. It's nothing really crazy, but you can tell there is some sluggishness in the throttle response. The customer actually thought it might have been maybe a transmission issue, but remember that depending on where the throttle position is, the transmission may not shift, and you could possibly think it's a transmission that's not shifting, it's not going into gear, but the heavier you step on the gas, that shift point is going to move, because of the PCM thinks that you're doing a wide open throttle, you're trying to do a pace, a pass and overtake, so it may even downshift. It may not shift at all, you know. I've seen that happen before with clogged exhaust systems, to where you have to step on the gas and you know you don't feel no shift, no nothing. And similar with skewed sensors. And sometimes the skewed sensors are the difficult ones to diagnose, because where are they supposed to be? What reading are you supposed to get? Things of that nature. I got this slow guy in front of me. I really can't do much now. Let me slow down, give him some leadway, and let you guys see this here. If you can see it, wide open. Dropped lean, and the grams per second never increased past 90, 92, something like that. That's what I was able to see. So definitely don't like some of these readings. Again, the short, long fuel trim, deadlock at 0%. There should be some adjustments going on there. So I don't think the faulty heater is going to cause that. It may, I don't think, because the sensor is reading. It's just that the heater circuit is bad. So we're gonna have to look into that. So let me get back to the shop, and we'll do some visuals, and I'll be right back with you after I answer this phone call and get ready to do some visuals. Alright guys, so I'm here underneath the car, and I'm at the O2 sensor here, the air fuel ratio sensor, bank 1 sensor 1, and apparently this truck only has 2, even though it's a V6, it only has 2 sensors. And I've disconnected the connector for the sensor, and I just want to test out that heater element. And if I remember correctly, it should be these 2 black wires, pin 1 and 2. And to do that, I'm using a multimeter set to the ohms setting. And all I'm going to do, hopefully you guys could see this, is just measure the resistance on those 2 black wires. I should be getting a reading, but I'm not. Oh well. Okay. It should be beeping, and I should be getting a very low ohms reading, and I'm not getting nothing. It's open circuit. So that tells me right there that this heater element is gone. So we're definitely going to need a new O2 sensor. That is confirmed. An O2 sensor. And that should take care of that problem. Here's the connector. Ugh. And this is what I want to hear. You got the connector here. We got these two black wires. That's the heater element wiring, the circuit. And I'm not getting anything. I'm looking at my ohm meter, and it says OL, over limits. So that's an open. I got an open circuit. I should not have that. I should have a little bit of resistance, because it's going through pretty much a resistor. So I should measure some resistance. It's going through a heater element, and that is an open. So for sure it needs an O2 sensor. So we're gonna go ahead and quote that as well. And another thing I wanted to check or show you guys is the air filter. As you can see, it's a little dirty. It's a little dirty. Not ridiculously dirty, but it does need a new one. So I'm definitely gonna advise Alex that we need a new air filter. So here's the airflow sensor. And what I want to do is I want to take these screws out, pull it out, and then I want to see inside and see if it's dirty. So give me a minute, let me get a screwdriver so I can pull that out. Alright, so I got my little teeny weeny screwdriver, Phillips screwdriver here, and I'm just going to take out these two screws. I don't know if you guys can see that because the sun is kind of that, and the angle's not that great. I hope I'm catching this. It's kind of hard to record and work at the same time. Okay, so I'm gonna remove this sensor. Now, you guys have seen me doing this service before. I got a couple videos. I think I got a couple videos, one for sure, on how to do these services. So if you've been following me for a while, you've seen me doing it before, but we can always do it again. All right, so we're just gonna pull this out gently, and we're just gonna look inside. And I can tell you right now that the temperature sensor is filthy. I don't know how much detail you guys are gonna be able to see on this camera, but that right there is filthy. But that's the temp sensor. Compared to the rear, if you were to look at it there, the sun is actually working to our favor there. If you were to look, see how it's brown, and if I were to turn it around, it's black. That's dirty. But that's the temp sensor. Okay, maybe that's why we're seeing a cooler temperatures on the PIDs. Now the actual elements that read the flow of air is right in there, and I can tell you that is filthy. That is definitely dirty. You can see all the fuzzies in there, and it's black, caked up. Yeah, this definitely needs cleaning. Whether or not this fixes the problem, this service is desperately needed. So we're gonna go ahead and talk to Alex and see if he'll let me clean this for him. And now that I'm doing this, I'm gonna go ahead and clean his throttle body as well, if he approves it. And then that should complete that induction service there, for the most part. But that definitely needs attention. And again, small, simple little things that people neglect, that in the long run causes issue. If you do this service about every 30K, you shouldn't have any issues at all. You just spray it, clean it, you know, and that's it. Will the clean it completely? I don't know. It looks pretty bad. I'm not sure. Hopefully we won't have to replace this sensor, because these sensors aren't cheap. The O2 sensor isn't cheap. So we're gonna go ahead and call the customer up. Alex, you need this, you need that, what do you want to do? Hopefully he'll approve it. Hopefully I'll have a follow-up video seeing the difference. I'm thinking this is going to help out tremendously with his performance issues, no doubt about it. So let's see what he has to say. Alright guys, so we're back here. I got approval from the customer to replace the O2 sensor, to do the service, to put a new air filter in and whatnot. So what I wanted to show you guys is the difference between the new and the old part. And obviously you see it's identical. I do notice that the new one is a few 2 or 3 inches shorter. I hope that's not going to be a problem. But the connectors and everything is the same. So what I wanted to show you guys, if I can do that, hold on, I'll just put you guys up here for now. What I can show you guys is what I was talking about earlier about the resistance. Okay, I don't know why this is kind of bouncing up and down like that. Okay, so in the old one, the 2 black wires, I said was open, as you can see. Now check out the new one. Okay. Okay. We got 1.2 ohms, 1.2, 1.3. Okay. That's what I expect to see. Right there. See? That is a good heater circuit on the sensor itself. So that confirms that this sensor is bad. I already knew it was bad, but just so that you guys could see at home how you test that. So the 2 black wires is going to be your heater element, which is inside. Every now and then when you pull one of these you may see that there's a bulge on the side of the casing here, you know. So I've seen that a lot when I pull out the sensor. Alright guys, so we're back. The camera shut off on me. I don't know if the battery went out or something, so I went ahead and put it to charge for a little bit. But anyways, I got my mass airflow sensor here, and I took out the intake ducts so that I can clean the throttle body. And I got my sprays here. So mass airflow sensor, again, if you've been following me for a while, you've probably seen me do it before. No science, just spray with the mass airflow cleaner. And we're gonna, it's kind of hard to see because you got the sun on my back, and it's in there. So we're just gonna spray in there. We're not touching the sensor. We're just spraying it to clean it. Because if you break that element, that's it, you're done. Go and buy a new one, because you just messed it up. And you could definitely tell the difference there. I don't know how much you'll be able to appreciate it on the video. I'm not sure how you'll be able to appreciate it. Okay. Clean up the thermistor there. Yeah, so you just want to get all that gunk off of the elements, which they're already off. The spray does a pretty good job of cleaning it without having to touch it. I don't like touching those resistors or anything in there, because you can damage the sensor. You could break it, and then you got to go and get a new one, and they are not cheap, I will assure you of that. All right, so this has to go in a certain way. Normally you can only install it one way because it has to go in a certain way so it can read properly. So one more look here. Let's see if I can get the light just right and the focus. I mean, it's kind of difficult, but... and then we just slip it in there and you put the 2 screws. So before I do that, I want to go ahead and clean the throttle body. As you can see, you got that black crud right there at the base of the butterfly there. So I've seen them dirtier, not ridiculously dirty, but we are gonna give it a little bit of TLC now that we're here. We're gonna go ahead and spray it, and then we're just gonna go ahead with a normal shop towel. We're gonna also spray the shop towel, and we're just gonna go around the throttle body, cleaning it, getting all that gunk out. Now it's kind of hard for me to do it one-handed, and I can't really position the camera right, so well, let me see what I can do. No, this is gonna be difficult. So I'm just gonna go ahead and clean it. You've seen me doing this in other videos, but we're just gonna go ahead and go around the throttle body and clean it, make sure it's nice and clean. So I'll give you an after shot after I'm done cleaning it. Alrighty, so we're back, and as you can see the difference, the before and after. Now we have a clean throttle body. Very nice. I know there's a little shadow there because of the light. There you have it. And this is what you want to concentrate on here, where the throttle body closes. You want to make sure that's nice and clean. So this is what you'll probably see when you clean it. So that's what you want to see. All that junk has to come out. You could also use a soft bristle plastic brush to get those tough, hard to remove carbon deposits. I've already changed the air filter. I think I failed to mention that earlier. So I still got to put the screws on, put everything back together, and we're gonna go for a test drive. I'm gonna clear the codes and go for a test drive. So I'll be back with you guys after I put all this back together and ready for test driving. Alright, so I went ahead and put everything back together. I started the car, warmed it up. As we can see, we're at operating temperature. Check engine light is off. I cleared the code, and we're about to head on our test drive. Now, right off the bat, I can see some changes. I can see that now I'm actually getting some positive short-term fuel trims. So this is starting to react now, which is good. Is adding or subtracting fuel to the mixture. The long fuel trim is still at 0, so that probably will change over time. Intake and temperature sensor has increased to 100 degrees now, which was what I expected it to do, and climbing actually. Before it was pretty much stuck at around 80 or 90. Now it's a little later in the morning now, so I think it's not even 12 yet. But so the small temperature change is expected with you know, the difference in the ambient air temperature reading. So mass airflow is still at 4.8 roughly, and the oxygen sensor bank 1, sensor 2 is pretty much at 0.2, 0.4, somewhere around there. I do see a little bit of movement that I don't like. The second O2 sensor should be pretty much flatlining, and I do see a little bit of up and down every now and then movement. I do not like that too much. There may be some catalytic converter deterioration going on there. So the check engine light may or may not come back on with a different code now, obviously, with a PO, what was it, PO 420, PO 720, something like that. I forgot the code, but either way is a catalytic converter efficiency below threshold code. So we're gonna have to kind of monitor that as time progresses. So we're gonna go ahead and start our test drive. Let me turn on the AC now. This is probably gonna go up a little bit. Now, depending on the year, make, model, after you clean the intake, it may be revving up high. That is to be expected. That is normal, because the throttle body can breathe better now, and the PCM kind of remembers that setting. And then especially Toyotas and Nissans, they may accelerate higher than normal for a while, and they'll kind of relearn. They'll start idling down until they relearn the new position, or you can clear the memory and do it that way. This is an old school throttle by cable, so if it idles high and it stays up that way, maybe somebody adjusted it at some point, and you may have to adjust it back. I've seen that before. So now we're gonna see what our mass airflow readings are. Let me try to give you guys the best possible view given the circumstances. We're gonna do wide open throttle. Not yet. There's a car in the way. Okay, now all the way to 120 something. That's a difference. If I remember correctly, I never saw it going that high. I never saw it going that high. So that's a difference there too. Take it to the main street here, the avenue, so I can get a little bit. Oh, I lost my scanner. Lost my scanner. Now I gotta reach over here. Okay. Yeah, it's difficult doing anything one-handedly. All right. Now what I want to see is the reaction of the throttle as well. I want to see the reaction of the throttle. See if I can get a little bit more. Okay, see that? See how that that rear O2 pegged up, Rich? That's what I want to see. So that's definitely working different now. That's what I want to see, and I know it's kind of difficult for you guys to appreciate on the video, but I'm driving, holding a camera and a scanner at the same time. Maybe not the safest thing to do. Okay, so I'm just gonna put it here so you guys can see, and obviously there's gonna be glare. So this is just a bad deal all the way around. So see, now we have long-term fuel being learned. Short-term fuel is reacting. That's good. Let me do a quick wide open throttle here. We're gonna look at the line here, the graph. Wide open. See that peg there? That's what I want to see. So we have good fuel delivery. I'm not gonna waste time putting fuel gauges or anything like that. That to me is good. I feel that the truck is responding more now. Not sure how it used to be, because I don't drive this truck, is not mine, but compared to what it was before, I do feel that it's a little more torquey now. So that is good. Fuel trims, we got up and down. In the short term, that's to be expected. The long term is being learned. Before, both of them were stuck at 0%. Now we have a 1.6 positive on the long term, and the short term reacts negative and positive, so that's to be expected. Let me see if we can drive a little bit more, get a little bit more. So definitely I feel that the truck is more responsive to the throttle. I'm gonna go ahead and call this a solved case. There's other things that should be done to the truck, you know, maintenance wise. We should change the fuel filter, you know, just, I don't know when was the last time they changed spark plugs, but that's besides the point. We wanted to get it up to where it should be, and then we'll worry about the little knickknacks later on. Yeah, a little lady here on the side of the bus stop there, she was dancing the other day. That was kind of funny. She's not dancing today though. Okay, so again, wide open, responds, nice, shifting, and life is good. So we're already at 60 miles per hour. I definitely can tell a difference. So there you have it. Something so simple, dirty mass airflow sensor, could cause such big issues. The moral of the story is maintain your vehicle. Do the recommended services. If you don't know how to do it, pay somebody to do it that does know how to do it, so that your equipment can be functioning the way it should. This is a regular routine service that should be done about every 30,000 miles or so. Not something that needs to be done all the time, and this guy is getting in my lane. South Florida drivers. I done lost my train of thought. I was talking about maintenance and stuff. This guy started getting into my lane of travel, so I got sidetracked. I apologize. But yeah, just maintain your vehicle. Do these little services. The details are the ones that, these little stupid little details are the ones that give you the biggest issues. You won't believe how many problems I've solved just by regular, routine, normal services. And it's more than just oil changes. There's a lot more that a car needs regularly than just changing your oil every 3,000 to 5,000 miles or whatever the interval may be. You know, you have this, you have filters, you have things that need cleaning, things that need flushing, transmission oils, coolants, you know, you name it. You gotta get it done. You gotta get it done. So anyways, I won't bore you guys with no more of my lectures on maintenance and whatnot. I just want to show you guys the difference between clean and dirty mass airflow. We even got an old hitchhiker guy here. Mass airflow reading is upwards of 100 now. I couldn't get it that high before. It would linger around 80. I think the highest I ever got it was 92 grams per second, and now it's well over 100, 120, 130. I think was the peak that I saw, somewhere around that ballpark. You may have not caught it on the video, but I saw it. So again, thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe. Alex, I hope you enjoy your car with the restored performance. Alex is a subscriber from what I understand. Thank you so much for your support in the channel, and to the rest of you guys, please like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next video. Ciao.